This company has been around for over a century. Founded in 1895, their first pro rider was Jedediah Pedal Pusher. Your Gammy fell in love with your Gramps whenever he skidded to a stop throwing dust all over her saddle shoes. And whenever you took a break from eating Pez and snorting Fun Dip, you were ripping berms and hopping whoops. The business up top and bike shorts round back approach meant that they hit a whole spectrum of two-wheel madness, but thankfully found time in between marketing and meetings to make some of the lally coolerest flatland bikes of the mid school. I'm chin wagging about none other than Schwinn. Neato. I'm Derek and this is benDy Tubes. Today we're digging into the freaking OG Schwinn bicycles. Schwinn has been around forever, before old school, before BMX, before any of this madness we talk about on a regular basis. Schwinn was around. And they were making stuff like this and this and this for decades. But I'm not here to talk about the Schwinn history. You can check out the link below. I'm here to talk about what they did for Mid School Flatland BMX. Quick shout out. Since we will be talking a lot about Canada, our northern neighbor has a pretty rad BMX mail order catalog in IGI BMX. Part manufacturer, part catalog, run by none other than Dub himself. It's awesome. They make some of the best grips and pegs and stems and just countless things that are well designed for flatland specifically. They're pretty much an exclusive retailer for FEC, so you can get a ton of stuff from them, ton of stuff from Iggy. Check them out, iggybmx.com. So, like I said, Schwinn is the OG of the 20-inch bike. But Huffy actually made the first one in the convertible in the 50s. But the Schwinn Stingray brought BMX to the masses. Check out the history of BMX below to see the extraneous detail and depth that they go into and the amazing story about BMX and its history. But I digress. It is awesome, but not why I'm here. So before I jump into the mid school offerings, Schwinn actually was in the flatland game earlier than I thought. And I found this, the 89 Predator Flatland on BMX Museum, total old school vibes. Like this thing was freestyle and flatland well before the old school. There were other old school bikes like the 85, 86 Predator Freeform EX and Freeform Pro that you see here. But I mean, those things were rad. Look at the platform, look at that little sissy bar thing. But back to the 89 Schwinn Predator Flatland, this thing was so gnarly. I do want to call out those curved chainstays. You'll see more of that in the design language of Schwinn, but also the undermount brakes. Like this thing was legit. Peregrine wheels, like really fun to come across, look into, learn about a little bit. So not only did Schwinn have iconic models like the Stingray and the Predator, Schwinn had a pretty talented team. They were big in the 90s and the aughts with some names like Jay Miron, Dave Asado, Brian Foster, Joey Garcia, and they had a lot of models. Hydromatic, Powermatic, Powermatic Mag, El Jefe, Blue Falcon, race bikes, ramp bikes, mountain bikes, triathlon, cycling. Like during the mid school, they had just a ton of offerings. But they absolutely had a design language with their BMX bikes. You'll see fat tubes, pierced top tubes, porterhouse dropouts, those S-curve chainstays. But they saw a gap in their product portfolio and decided to have a focus group with this dude, Sean Peters, and they came up with their first gen flatland frame, the Power Flow, pictured here. This thing dropped in 1997, and I kind of remember seeing it in a catalog or two. But it was pretty cool to stumble upon it again in this research. I don't know how many were made. I don't have many details. I think it was about a 19-inch top tube, 14.5-inch chainstay, 10-millimeter dropouts. Some of those design elements persisted. That pierced and ovalized top tube they call the runway. The bent down tube that was 2 inches in diameter. One of the really cool design elements was the yoke stay mount. It was, part old school brazed lug, part machine hotness, and this was a cool little detail. And check out those chainstays. What'd I tell you? That's a mess. I know. That was right. Also, the Power Flow came as a kit, which is kind of cool. Frame, fork, headset, stem. You got a lot whenever you bought that bike, and it was super tough. The black and gold colorway, super sick. You know, held up today. I would ride this thing for sure if it didn't weigh like 19 pounds. Probably not 19, but it was really interesting. Whenever it was in the catalog I was researching, they were highlighting different attributes than we do today. Like today we talk about top tube length and head tube angle and seat tube angle and bottom bracket height and stuff like that. On here, they're like 2-inch down tube, like runway top tube. I really couldn't find any reference to like dims and weights. So different marketing plan. If you wanted that bike, you got that bike, and the bike that you got was the bike you got, kind of thing. So in 1999, Schwinn courted another young ripper by the name of Andrew Ferris and gave him a chance to take the Power Flow into a new direction and make it his own. This resulted in the absolutely one-of-a-kind frame kit, the 36-24-36. Again, a kit, frame, fork, stem. It took a lot from the Power Flow from a dimension standpoint, but colorway and sticker pack were iconic. There isn't much to say about this Pepto Pink bike that it doesn't say on its own. Design language persisted, yoke, bent down tube, runway top tube, S-curve chainstays. But, you know, dimensionally it was about the same, 19-inch top tube, stuff like that. I remember seeing this in, I think it was Dan's Comp catalog, and it was like $1,800 for the frame kit. So Schwinn was proud of it, rightly so, super cool bike, but young D couldn't afford it. So young D did not ever have the power or the 36-24-36, which is sad, but it's okay. And here are a few clips of Andrew riding, like really cool, understated style, a lot of switches on the front wheel, pivots, flips, stuff like that. Super hard, like I said, understated. And you know, literally the best part about bendy tubes is like personally rediscovering this stuff. Like I remember watching a lot of these videos when I was younger, having my mind blown. It's amazing to see what Flatland was and what it is today, and that like dudes on 40-pound bikes 30 years ago were able to do this stuff. Like it just reinforces that Flatland is one of the most amazing, complex, individualistic sports that's ever existed. So I love it. I love the bikes. That's why I'm here. And thanks for joining me on that. So if that bike wasn't wild enough, in 2000, Schwinn dropped Andrew Ferris's next designed frame, the Azrael. All aluminum, 6061 T6 work of art. There were 200 of these things made, and I can't find photographic evidence, but I actually owned one in college. I got it secondhand. It was beautiful. I was the closest I've ever been to pulling a whopper on that bike, because that was one of Andrew's signature tricks that hopefully I can find a clip for and put right there. But 19-inch top tube, 3/8 dropouts, 14.25 chainstay, 74.5 head tube angle. It had the yoke, it had the pierced top tube, it had the 2-inch bent down tube. Top tube was round, didn't get flattened like the runway. And you know, it had things like an American bottom bracket, press fit headset, chainstay mounted, or I'm sorry, seat stayed mounted brakes, gyro tabs, stuff like that. Simple gussets on the front end, and the seat stay mount was pretty cool too. There's one available on BMX Museum here if you want it. And if your love knows no financial limitations, go get yourself a piece of history. Also, I reference this dude a lot, and he has like almost one of each of these frames, and almost every bike that I've referenced in bendy tubes. Thiago Flat on BMX Museum has a Mid School Museum. I don't know how he had the foresight to like accumulate and buy and keep all these bikes, but man, if you want to send me some stock suggestions, you clearly have a long-term vision, my man. Thiago Flat, BMX Museum. And sadly, that's it for Schwinn and their contributions to Mid School Flatland. We end with the Azrael. We got the Power Flow into 36-24-36 as well. Unfortunately, Schwinn went the way of the Dyno Bird and kind of got absorbed into Pacific Cycles, much like the ending scene in Society. You know which one I'm talking about. But, you know, pretty sure you can find one at your local Walmart, and, you know, it's not going to be one of these. And it's kind of sad, man. It's depressing talking about all these iconic brands that have been gobbled up and repurposed for mass market utilization, but it is what it is. Sad face. And well, you know, ending on that bummer of a note, there's so much more bendy tubes coming. Like I said, Quamon's in the queue. St. Martin got called out, so that's in the hopper. Do a couple shorts about mid-school generations, compartmentalize all of these different companies. And one of the crazy things, like I've already accumulated a list of like 100 frames from some of the betwixt companies like KGB and KHE and St. Martin and Aries. So we got some runway, people. And so more to come on bendy tubes. I'm Derek. Thanks for watching. Thanks for engaging and providing comments. And we'll be back with more soon.